Hello and welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UK Jens Zoidberg, and this is Best 10, where I offer up my favourite games to fit a selected theme. Once again, that theme revolves around one of the top publishers of Amiga games, Renegade Software. If that name isn't familiar to you, they were initially set up by the Bitmap brothers as a means to publish their own games. It wasn't long though before they gained a reputation as a company where developers could come and make the games that they wanted without any interference. And what you are about to see are my personal choices for their best 10 games. They may not have released as many games as some of the other companies that I've featured on this series, such as Electronic Arts or Ocean, but the level of quality was consistently high. You may well agree with some, or even all, of my choices, but I'd still love to hear what your best 10 were in the comments. So grab yourselves an ice cream and sit back as we reveal the game that I've chosen at number 10.
Get ready!
There's no question that Speedball 2 is one of the best games ever released for the Amiga, but the original game was actually published by Imageworks. The only version to come from Renegade themselves was the CD32 version in 1995, and it's easily the worst version. The extra colours really add nothing to the visual aesthetic, and in fact probably make it look worse overall. I also struggle to play the game with a D-pad, and find myself having to plug in a joystick instead in order to get any enjoyment out of it. It is, still, a truly excellent futuristic sports game though, possibly the greatest ever. But you're simply better off playing the original A500 version, and that's why it's only number 10 on this list.
Replay! Get ready! Get ready!
Not meeting expectations can ruin any game, and the Chaos Engine 2 is a game that falls foul of them more than most. Players will have been wanting more of the same from this sequel, but the Bitmaps had another idea, and took their inspiration from the Spy vs Spy games instead. Solving puzzles, laying traps, and avoiding enemies is the order of the day, and of course it looks and sounds great. But there are clearly issues. The single player mode really needs a full screen option, and to get the most out of it, you're going to need 2 players who are tuned in to how the gameplay works. If this had been marketed as a multiplayer spin-off rather than a sequel, I genuinely think the response would have been much better, and I would probably welcome a remake of this game, complete with online play, more than any other. Virocop sees you controlling an exterminator nicknamed Dave, as you attempt to rid a number of video game themed worlds from viruses. GraphGold took this conceit and used it as a way to lovingly mock the various tropes of the game styles on offer. Each world is packed with little bits of background detail, but it ends up making you want to get a little bit further next time out. As overhead shooters go, it's got some very high profile competition, but it's very playable and I really enjoyed it, even if it takes a little too long to get through each world. To cap it off though, it features a fun 2-player mode, where you control movement and direction of fire independently. More astute players could actually use that as a way to play with 2 joysticks, Smash TV style. It's easy to see why Fly to the Amazon Queen gets overlooked by a lot of people, even when it launched in 1995, as there are a lot of high quality point and click adventure games available. However, with its cast of excellent characters, funny set pieces and a twisting storyline, this really does deserve to be mentioned alongside the very best. Playing as charter pilot Joe King, yes that's really his name, you find yourselves thrust into a tale that involves mad scientists, dinosaurs, lost temples and a talking gorilla. The point and click interface keeps things simple and none of the puzzles are illogical or frustrating to solve. It also helps that the graphics are packed with some excellent little animations throughout. Shame there wasn't an AGA version, but you can't have everything. Fire and Ice manages to pack more character and personality into its title screen than most games manage in their entire package. Cool Coyote is easily the most appealing of all Amiga platform mascots, and thankfully GraphGold conjured up a game worthy of his presence. Rather than simply trying to emulate Sonic, like most other platform games were doing at the time, this instead built a game around the character, and threw in elements of arcade platformers like Bubble Bobble. Whether you're a casual player, or someone who has to explore every corner of the levels, this remains a super slick and highly playable game. In what's fast becoming a running theme for this video though, don't play the CD32 version. the A500 original looks and sounds better. If you're not familiar with the original, you may initially find Uridium 2 to be a bit overwhelming. Just like the C64 and Spectrum Classic that preceded it, the action here is so fast and frantic that newcomers will have trouble working out what's going on. After a few tries though, you'll discover an absolutely brilliant addictive shooter that rewards each restart. Everything moves at a blistering pace, but the joystick controls are tight, and the raised walls that could be your downfall are very easy to spot. New to this sequel are the reactor cores that must be destroyed at the end of each level, throwing up a different challenge that breaks up the rest of the action perfectly. Terrific soundtrack too.
Land now. Land now. Land now. Land now. Torpedo.
At first glance you might think that Rough and Tumble is another cutesy platformer. Then it pulls out a massive machine gun and fills the screen with exploding mechs. Surprisingly, it's a combination that works exceptionally well, and it's a game that proves the Amiga could easily compete with consoles with the right developer. The challenge is incredibly tough, but always fair, rewarding players that are both patient and skillful, neither of which apply to me. If you're like me, it's a game that will make you swear a lot, so don't play it near any sensitive family members. Despite the frustration though, I still find myself in need of one more go every time I fail. Bitmap brothers always had a knack of getting your attention, and Gods is perhaps the greatest example of this. In the Games X offices, this was a game that would attract a crowd as somebody booted it up. With gorgeous graphics, easily Mark Coleman's best, fantastic level design packed with secrets to discover, and possibly the best sound effects you'll hear outside of an arcade. It's a game I consistently dig out and play through again every few months. Really, the fact that this has remained one of my comfort games for over 30 years tells you everything that you need to know about why it's near the top of this list. As much as I love Gods, I have to admit that the Chaos engine is the developer's magnum opus. This adrenaline-fueled top-down shooter is almost flawless in its design and execution, and the soundtrack keeps things frantic at all times. Just like Gods, there are enough secrets buried within its levels that you'll discover something new every time you play it. Choosing your ideal combination of characters will require multiple replays to try and get them all, and it even manages to feel like you're playing with another human in single player. The computer AI is that good. Once again, the improvements for the A1200 and CD32 versions actually made the game look worse than the original though.
Exit open. Exit open. Level complete.
Ask me what my favourite Amiga game of all time is on any given day, and my answer will probably be Sensible World of Soccer. So it was inevitable that this was going to be in the top spot of this video. Modern football games have never come close, and even recent successors like Sociable Soccer have captured its spirit but not its brilliance. One thing that modern developers seem to have forgotten is that realism isn't the most important thing in sports games. Gameplay is. And the gameplay here is simply sublime. Thanks to the community, you can even get updates every year to keep the player rosters up to date. To paraphrase another game by Sensible Software, football has never been so much fun. And it probably never will be again. So those are my choices for the best 10 Amiga games from Renegade. Please make sure you give us a like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this list. To see these videos earlier than anyone else, including episodes of the re-review and exclusive extended first impressions videos, why not check out the VIP membership offer for just $1.99 a month. If you've missed previous videos in this series, there should be a playlist on screen now for you to click on. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, happy retro gaming, and I'll see you soon.